Hey everybody, I'm back for another video. This time it's another review after like months of not actually doing a review. And for today, while you're seeing this video, while I would usually have some sort of like sports quip, sports joke to say, unfortunately enough, this past weekend there has been absolutely nothing sports related happening, so I have nothing to talk about. But I do have something to talk about music related, and that's of course, if you've been living under a rock this past Saturday, Kanye and Dolla Sign finally dropped their collaborative project Vultures after like weeks upon weeks of delaying, and now I finally get to sit through and listen to 16 songs worth of bullshit. But of course, when going into Kanye himself on this project, I wouldn't really say he was the high note here, even though he is, you know, the main collaborator here. If there's one thing that is once again being shown here, is that Kanye's lyricism has died out a very long time ago. We all know him as being a good producer. I feel like everybody knows Kanye as being a pretty solid producer, but I feel like even when it comes to lyrical ability, although he wasn't really the strongest rapper, even still, at least he was a bit more clever before. But now when I look at a lot of his bars, it just feels like I'm listening to a bunch of bullshit sometimes whenever I hear Kanye rap. I mean, like, some of the bars in here are either just outright goofy or just so out of pocket that I don't even think I can say them on this channel without getting demonetized. Like on the track Keys to My Life, he says, "I thought I was the only one. How dare you have a nigga in your house eating Papa John's?" And then on the track Carnival, he also says, "Anybody else pissed off, gotta make them drink their urine," which is just so gross. And then on the track Vultures, he says, "Tell me how I'm anti-Semitic. I just fucked a Jewish bitch," which but then it gets a little out of pocket here, in which he just says, "This ain't but we came in with the trenches," which, as I said before, I don't think I can actually say this bar on this channel without censoring it, because I think my whole channel would get removed. Kanye wasn't exactly spectacular on here. His vocal mixing was a bit off. At some points, it felt like he was like 30 years away from the mic, and like somebody was like holding a muzzle over his fucking face. And then at certain points, it felt like he was absolutely deep throating the mic with how close he was. In comparison to like him and Dolla Sign, I feel like the production level when Dolla came on felt a lot more clear. It felt a lot more crisp. Even just on certain extents, like with like the beat switch, it even felt when this beat switched over with Dolla Sign coming in, it just felt like a complete step up. That in a sense felt like Dolla was kind of carrying this just a little bit. Like, now don't get me wrong, Dolla had some flaws here, because I feel like on some of the more angrier and more hard going trap beats on this album, I feel like it was kind of lacking here. I feel like he didn't bring enough of the energy, and I think it's mainly just because, you know, he's an R&B singer. You know, you can't do all the oohs and the ooh-wees and shit all over, you know, the most nastiest trap you ever heard. It just doesn't work. You know, this isn't like 2008 Chris Brown. Nobody gives a shit about that when I'm trying to like break people's nose in a mosh pit. You know what I mean? I thought the features, some of them were cool, but I feel like most of them I didn't really care about. But then you also had Northwest on the track Talking, in which he hopped on this Jersey Club beat, and I feel like, although it wasn't like anything crazy, it was kind of like listening to Adonis on For All the Dogs. Even still, right? I thought it was fun. I thought it was great. I like the beat more than anything else. I feel like it was just a nice little addition for an album that I feel like kind of had a lot of bad connotations layered over it. So, you know, there was a Playboi Carti feature. He was on 2 tracks. He was on Fuck Something and he was on Carnival. And on the former track, I feel like he was kind of just there. I didn't get that level of presence that I feel like I got on the other track, Carnival. I don't know, his verse didn't really feel like it really jumped out at me. It didn't really complement the beat very well. It kind of just felt like he was there. It just didn't hit as hard as what we could have gotten from his singles that he's been dropping himself online. I mean, the whole song in general, I feel like just feels a bit underwhelming. From Kanye to Dolla to Carti himself, I feel like everybody kind of just lacked on this one. But as for Carnival though, I feel like Carnival was a major step up for Carti. I feel like that definitely did show, 1, his lyrical ability, and 2, I feel like his presence on songs in general. I feel like he completely overlapped everybody else on that song by like a mile. His verse was just, it was very clean. He chopped it up very well, and honestly it just makes me even more excited for when he drops his own project. Honestly, like, if he could keep this up and put this on music, I would be completely satisfied. But as for Travis Scott, he was on the track Fuck Something with Carti, and I feel like he was the one who more carried the track, even though his verse wasn't even all that exciting. The mixing, of course, for him was even a bit off, but I feel like the beat more complimented him than like anybody else on that track, including the random Alvin and the Chipmunks feature that was also on there. I don't know why they even put that in there. It was like when I'm listening to Dolla Sign on this album, and there's certain extents in which he would have a level up on the production. That's how I felt like it was with Travis Scott when I was listening to this track. It felt like the moment he came on, the production, just everything else, I felt like every piece of that song kind of lifted Travis up, while I feel like everybody else was kind of just there, you know? There was also Freddie Gibbs on the track Back to Me. I honestly feel like he carried it as well. And I mean, it's not like he just had some little itty bitty 15-second verse you just, you pick up, you just slap in a song and toss aside. No, he had a solid minute's worth and even closed out the song, which I thought was great. I thought his verse was amazing. I feel like his flow fits perfectly. I feel like he's one of the more versatile rappers in today's game. So of course he's able to just work with anything that, Kanye or JPEG Mafia could have given him on this project, which I thought was pretty cool. There was also Chris Brown on, What song was Chris Brown on? I don't know. I forgot. I skipped over it because I don't like Chris Brown. But yeah, he was there too. I just want to let y'all know so y'all can also skip it as well. But of course, while I'm doing all of this talking and reviewing myself, I kind of had to sit there and think, how am I able to sit here and review an album without bringing in a Kanye meat muncher? So I decided to tag in my boy Bryce Fitz here. This right here is like my brother from another mother. So I'm going to slide it to him and then I'm going to finish this shit out.
What's going on, guys? It's Bryce here to interrupt this video with my thoughts about Vultures from Kanye West, Dolla Sign. Now, me and LowNotes sat there earlier today and recorded a whole nice conversational piece, but the boy forgot to record audio. What the fuck? A lot of what we kind of covered was the highs and the lows of the album, and basically the consensus. So, looking through the track list here, I'm sure you've heard it. You're watching a whole video about it, and you're pretty familiar with it. And I must say, as a Kanye album, a recent Kanye album, this shit is good. I think I prefer Donda to it, but it's a lot similar to Donda, as in like it's an amalgamation of a lot of Kanye eras into one. And of course, Dolla Sign kind of plays more of a supportive act. I mean, Kanye is the only one on the cover, and we kind of said this was like a her loss, Drake 21 Savage situation. This is Kanye's album. This is Kanye's vision. This is his album. But Dolla Sign, completely supportive in this, more of a supportive role. He had some dope hooks and stuff in here, but some of the lows on here, in my opinion, was Do It with YG. Just wasn't huge on it. Wasn't huge. Also, Beg Forgiveness, Chris Brown, that song is long, and within the context of the album, it makes sense, but I'm just not listening to that song outside the album. I'm just not doing it. And, I was curious how Kanye was gonna approach, everything going on with Kanye right now, and if you know what that means. And I thought he was either gonna go batshit crazy, talk about it a lot, or not talk about it at all. He met me right in the middle and kind of talked about it very few times here and there, some joking lines. But on the last two tracks, Problematic and King, kind of went more into it and how it's been affecting him, his perspective and stuff. And if you're mad at Kanye, despite the stuff he says on here, how it's been affecting him, don't blame you. Don't blame you. Boy has said some crazy shit. But listening to that has opened a little bit of sympathy within myself. Now, don't get mad at me, because I think Kanye has done some pretty irreversible damage to large groups of marginalized people with what he said. Don't get me wrong, but separating the art from the artist, it's hard to when you get to these tracks. And that's kind of where I sit on it. I'm not sitting here defending Kanye. I'm not sitting here attacking Kanye. It's just the music is the music, but I wanted to bring that up because it is in the track list. And that is a big talking point I did not want to ignore. But some of the highs on the album. Rich the Kid, Playboi Carti. What the fuck? Man, just doesn't get better than that. It just doesn't get better than Carnival. It's the best song of all time, probably. And then Fuck Some, crazy. Not even because of Carti. I mean, I know I just named the two Carti songs, but Travis went crazy on that. Vultures, I love a lot. Burn is like some OG shit. Back to Me, Freddie Gibbs. Wow. I mean, wow. It definitely, we were saying it's kind of like some 30 hours type shit, but Freddie Gibbs can do anything. And he came in here and gave a traditional Freddie Gibbs verse, and that's not an insult calling it generic. Traditional Freddie Gibbs verse is incredible, and he went above and beyond that, but it's a traditional style Freddie Gibbs verse. Talking, I liked a lot with Northwest. That shit stuck in my head. I don't give a fuck if it sounds bad or she's not singing in tune. She's 9. And the subject matter of the song, especially in the second half, Dolla Sign talking about his daughter and how he's bringing her up and stuff like that. Great track. I really think this is a solid project. Now, will he drop the other 2 Vulture editions? I don't know. Will he drop the solo album after? I don't know. But we're hoping, and we're praying, and I wanted to get on here to help my boy LowNotes with a little bit of an intermission on his video since we fucked up the call. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, show some love to my boy LowNotes. Don't even worry about me. Fuck me. And that's the poopity scoop. Gotcha. Stole your joke from the live recording because now your audience can't see you came up with this, so now I said it. Haha.
But yeah, that's basically the rundown though. Was this album bad? No. I said it before, it was listenable. Some of the tracks here felt kind of safe. Some of the tracks here felt like they didn't fit. Some of the tracks here felt kind of boring. And a few of these tracks here actually did feel pretty well constructed and very fun to listen to. I just wish that sort of level was reciprocated amongst the other, 12 or 13 songs that we had here. I'm not gonna put this on a scale. I think y'all should realize that by now if you've seen my last review. I'm gonna just let y'all decide on your own how y'all feel about it. But for me, is it album of the year? No, I wouldn't say this shit was album of the year for like a fucking mile. Tell me how y'all feel about the Kanye x Dolla Sign collab down below. And while at the same time, you can also like and subscribe. You can follow my IG and Twitter, and you can follow Chocolate on Instagram for more illustrations. I will see you guys later when I go meet Bryce Fitz and steal his car. See you.